joining us. This is TNT, Coal Region Football's Thursday Night Tailgate, where we take a look at the AFL, the Anthracite Football League, following all the action every week. We already talked about our Thursday night game this week, Thursday night special, Lehigh at Panther Valley. We recapped all of Week 6 action. Now what we're going to do is, before we get into the Week 7 games, take a little bit of a look at the AFL standings. So we got two undefeated teams, Jim Thorpe and North Schuylkill. Things are looking to set up nicely for that big game coming up.
Yeah, I mean,
not go too far ahead, but
hey,
let's face it.
We can look as far ahead as we want. We don't have anything on the line. None of your coaches and players, they can't look ahead. But we've been talking about this
we're
last 2 weeks.
We're kind of excited about it.
Yeah, we've been talking about this last 2 weeks. So, yeah, right now you have North Schuylkill and Jim Thorpe. If they take care of business this week, which we expect them to, then that'll set up the big matchup next week, and then the North Schuylkill or Jim Thorpe, whoever wins that game, will be in a nice position. But you do have Lehigh back here at 4-1, that can kind of control their own destiny. If they win out, they put themselves in a nice position too.
Sure.
So you got Jim Thorpe, North Schuylkill, Lehigh in there. You would think that those guys are the three that could really win the league right now. You think those are the three with the best shot, unless some crazy things happen. So.
And when you look at the tiers we talked about last week, you look at Lehigh and Blue Mountain there, and then Tamaqua coming in just below them. It's kind of shaping up a little bit how we thought it might.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Blue Mountain and Tamaqua probably they're in that next tier. I think by themselves now.
Yes.
I think it's almost in 4 tiers now.
Yeah,
I agree.
And then you have Marion and Schuylkill Haven, and that'll work itself out this Friday night when they play each other. And then and then you get the teams that have obviously struggled this year. But I think right now I don't think Marion and Schuylkill Haven are quite play at the level that Tamaqua and Blue Mountain are. And even though Monterey is in there record-wise, still not sold on them either. I think they're a little bit, even though the record says they're above Marion and Schuylkill Haven, I think they're maybe a little notch below those two teams.
Yeah.
They still have some more stuff to prove down the stretch too. So.
All right, well, things are starting to play themselves out, and we're starting to get some separation, and going to be interesting to see how the next few weeks play out and where we're at going into weeks 9 and 10. So that's your AFL standings. What we're going to do now is take a look at all the Week 7 games. As always, we have one team going out of league, and there's been a few nice games this year out of league. Blue Mountain and Pottsville, because of that rivalry, that's always a good matchup. We were excited for Governor Mifflin to see the Heighton matchup.
Yeah.
It's one of the best teams in the state, and this one's right up there. You have North Schuylkill and Mount Carmel. This game's going to be at North Schuylkill, and they played in some classics over the years. They really had, and they're two programs that are very well established, and two programs that when they get together don't like each other very much. So what do you expect out of this one?
This is a revenge game for North Schuylkill. Last year, North Schuylkill lost this game on the final play of the game, I believe, and Mount Carmel mounted a furious comeback and stole one with the last play of the game. So North Schuylkill didn't forget that. Most of those guys are back again this year. And this year it's at home. Last year, obviously, at Mount Carmel. This year they're at home, and I think they might have circled this one a long time ago on the calendar. And I think they'll be ready to play, and should be a good one. But I think North Schuylkill, like I said, until somebody stops them or beats them up in some way, it's hard to think that they won't take care of business again.
Yeah, this is a solid Mount Carmel team, not a juggernaut like in the years past, but my thing is from the standpoint of this game, we always talk about physicality in North Schuylkill. I think Mount Carmel will be able to be getting close to matching North Schuylkill's physicality.
Sure.
Just the way those kids are born and bred up there, you know what I mean? But if North Schuylkill's line continues to play the way they have, I've said it week in and week out.
It makes them go.
Yeah,
it's the answer engine right there.
So, I don't really know much about Mount Carmel. I don't think much. We don't think any of us have seen them play, not even on TV or anything. So we don't really know how talented they really are. We just know that they're 4-2.
Yeah,
Traditionally they lost to two really good teams.
They did lose to two good teams.
Ceilings Grove, they got crushed, and they got crushed last week by Southern Columbia. So, but anytime this game happens, it's like any rivalry game. Sure. Anytime this game happens, it's going to be, who's ready to play, who's not, and you better be able to play with emotion, because that's what kind of game this is going to, there's going to be a lot of emotion generated from this game.
So again, got a great game at North Schuylkill with Mount Carmel coming to town tomorrow night. Big rivalry game. Going to be excited to see how that one plays out. Next, we got Tamaqua heading up to Shenandoah. Tamaqua, all of a sudden, sitting here at 4-2. They're looking to keep things rolling. Shenandoah, coming off a tough week against North Schuylkill, looking to bounce back with a better performance against Tamaqua. Also still looking for their first win. So, Tamaqua's really doing a great job of staying in that playoff hunt.
Yeah, they really are, and they've been playing well. No doubt about that. And Shenandoah is on the other end of the spectrum. There's just nothing going right for Shenandoah right now. Losing kids to whether it be injury or whatever it may be, they just don't have the numbers that they had at the beginning of the season. So, they're just trying to ride this thing out and hopefully improve and get some guys better for next year. But Tamaqua heavy favorite in this one, and rightfully so.
Yeah, Tamaqua's looking to make this 4 straight wins. You would expect Bugmore to have another big game as far as what Shenandoah's given up on the ground this year.
Mm-hmm.
And, Shenandoah, they just face another physical smash mouth opponent. There's 6 out of the first 8 games were against Jim Thorpe, Blue Mountain, Haven, North Schuylkill, Tamaqua this week, and then the Heighton.
Yeah.
So that's just a rough schedule for a team that only has 24, 25 kids right now.
Yeah.
That's just tough. I mean, kudos to them for hanging in there and waking up on Saturday mornings and getting ready to go on Monday, because that's
absolutely.
not tough. And anytime of programs like this in the core region, the rest of the other schools are thinking about them and hoping that the next year they have more numbers out. Because Shenandoah, a couple of years ago was obviously one of the best teams in the league. So they just don't have the numbers right now. And when you're playing these type of teams with these the Height and Blue Mountain coming in and all these other schools getting bigger, like Jim Thorpe and North Schuylkill and Tamaqua, they're all just getting bigger, and the kids are getting bigger, and it's becoming quite a league. And so Shenandoah's just gonna have to hang in there. That's about all they can do.
Yep. Shenandoah, with their problems with numbers this year, that just shows you the example of when the league expands and what possible comes in 2016, not next year but the following year.
Yeah.
And this is why you can't have crossovers. Some of the schools wanted crossovers. You can't.
Yeah.
It's just not fair. They can't be playing. Forced to be playing all these big schools.
Look at what I just named.
Yeah. I mean, 2016 can't come soon enough for some of the smaller schools in the AFL.
If you want to schedule your rivals, go ahead, but get some teams in there that's going to help you get in the playoffs.
Because the AFL's changed, and it's changed since its inception, and you got a lot of much bigger schools now, and in football that disparity is very very noticeable on the field.
And on the flip side, I think when this goes to 2 divisions, I think the big schools are gonna have a hard time filling their schedules. Who's gonna want to play them? Who wants to play Blue Mountain if you don't have to, or who wants to play North Schuylkill if you don't have to? So it'll be interesting to see how it works out on both sides. But I think the big schools are gonna have some scheduling problems. They're gonna look for maybe 3, 4, even 5 non-league games.
I think what's nice about kind of this Carmel Schuylkill area that's real close, like you have Jim Thorpe, Lee Height, and you have Nesquehoning, like the Panther Valley area.
Yeah.
Some of them are still going to play.
They will. They will. I mean, we already know that. We've
some
talked
of those natural rivalries.
We've talked to coaches and they're like, "Listen, we're doing it. We're playing it."
Which is great.
Yeah.
But I think that's a great point. And the teams that choose to do that, that's great. Keep natural rivalries going. Keep Jim Thorpe and PD playing, or PD and Tamaqua, or those combinations. But
But the Blue Mountain and Pottsville, they're going to be kind of on the outside looking in, I think.
No one's going to play like
North Schuylkill.
PV's not adding Pottsville or Blue Mountain.
Exactly.
They don't have to.
Right.
Yeah. Or Shenandoah's not adding Blue Mountain or
they're going to be the
Pottsville if they don't have to.
struggling to find games. I think. I don't know how it'll all work out.
Pottsville will probably just add some of the Burks teams they
Sure.
to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to start looking to Burke, start looking towards the Lehigh Valley, and start looking towards some of those teams.
Hamburg, that'll probably be a matchup. Maybe they'll try and get teams like that.
Yeah.
All right, we got sidetracked.
Yes. All right, next.
Sorry.
It happens every week.
Right on cue. Segue into our next game. Blue Mountain at Miners.
Yeah.
So,
One of these classic small school, big school mismatches, and
Yeah.
Minersville struggling, Blue Mountain playing very well right now,
and Miners not struggling coming off that tough Tamaqua game.
Yeah.
Big physical Tamaqua team, and now they got to play Blue Mountain.
maybe the most exciting thing about this game is that you'll be making your radio debut, Pat. On
Very excited about it. So I'll be up there to check out all the action, heading up to Minersville, and I don't know if anyone knows where I should stop to get some wings or something before the game. Let us know on Twitter because I'll be looking for somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know Minersville area that well, so I can't help you out.
Cool. Hopefully hopefully someone out there has an idea for
Yeah.
it.
But again, similar to Tamago at Shenandoah, Blue Mountain, even though they're traveling, heavy favorite, they should go ahead and take care of business, and might as well just try to improve every week like they have been.
You made a great point in our first segment where you said that these teams that come against these smaller schools like Blue Mountain know they have to win. They know they have to win, so they're coming in here preparing like might as well like it's a playoff game.
Sure.
So you're already disadvantaged numbers wise and speed and physical and athletic wise. Now you got a team coming in pretty much playing like it's their Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of tough matchup once again for mine as well, and I expect Blue Mountain to roll again.
All right, so our next game, we were talking a little bit about the tiers and where teams are falling in the league.
Yeah.
Jim Thorpe, defending champs and undefeated as of now. PV last week played with them for a half. Jim Thorpe, there's been some games where I don't want to say they've showed some weaknesses, but we talked about some of the mistakes they've made.
Yeah.
They've been they haven't been as dominant as a North Schuylkill, obviously, and maybe even a Lily Heighton if you look at it.
Yeah.
So as far as Monte area goes, where are they going to fall? I think this week's a good barometer. We're going to see where exactly Monte area is because they're at home. Hosting Jim Thorpe, and this is a game in the beginning of the year that we probably thought would be, very evenly matched. Obviously now Jim Thorpe's a favorite, but a chance for Monty to really make a statement.
Yeah, and I think a chance for Jim Thorpe to also do the same. If, like I said, Jim Thorpe undefeated so far, but we really haven't seen him just take it to anybody for 4 quarters. They've had some 1-point victories here. And this is a game where I think, especially, North Schuylkill on the back burner, you're looking ahead to that next week, where they just have to go to the Monte area and prove that they're a contender in the AFL and just take care of this game and, from start to finish and not have a 0-0 tie at halftime, and not worry about, hey, what if the other team scores first? Are we going to be back on our heels? And so I'm looking forward to see how Jim Thorpe attacks this game in response to set up for their big 3 coming down the stretch.
Yeah, that was my key. I'm thinking the same thing. They have to put together a complete game. They have to click on all cylinders because going into that game with North Schuylkill, you want to be playing your best absolute football. You want to go look back at the film and be like, hey, we played great in that first, we played great in the second, we played great in the third, we played great in the fourth, we finished them off, and then we got out of there with a big time win. The one key thing for Jim Thorpe, though, that has been consistent for them, and is the most important thing, and it's consistent in football, has been their defense.
Yeah, sure.
So you could say all you want about them winning these games by 1 point, which they have, but their defense has been there all year.
Absolutely.
And if your defense is there, you're always going to have a chance to win.
Sure.
You got to put points on the board, but if your defense is there, you're always in the game. So all you need is a turnover or a special teams play like they've been coming up with, and then they can come up with a W. But it's interesting to see which Mono team will show up. They've had problems with the bigger, more physical lines. Jim Thorpe's line is, I don't know if I'd go big, but they are physical.
Sure.
They do get the job done. They're a running team. You don't rack up the kind of numbers rushing that they have this year without having a successful offensive line. So, which Mono team will show up? Can Jim Thorpe clean up the mistakes they've made? Can they not shoot themselves in the foot offensively? We'll find out all those questions this week, and it can't come soon enough because I want to start talking about that in
Yeah.
All right, well, hey, we're almost there. That brings us to our game of the week, and our game of the week once again involves Marion. This is a game that does not have the AFL implications that many thought it might at the beginning of the year as far as competing for the Anthracite Football League Championship, but has huge District XI Single A playoff implications. This is Schuylkill Haven heading to Marion. Both teams right now are at 3-3, and in fact, Hurls, you mentioned that there's 5 teams right now.
5 teams tied at 3-3 in District 11 Single A.
So this game's huge. This game's really big. Marion looking to get back on track after their game against Lee Heighton. Haven, again looking to keep things rolling after last week, but again, what can we take from that game from Haven? Their game against Nativity. Kind of hard to say, but this is one of these teams is going to be 3-4.
Yeah, that's true. For Marion, first of all, we don't know. Personally, we don't know the condition of Mascornic. I don't know if he's going to be back. I don't know if any of you guys know.
I don't think he will. It doesn't look good. From the reports we're hearing, it doesn't look good.
He's on crutches.
Yeah,
you don't go from crutches to playing.
So Mascornic out again. So again, Marion has to find a way to move the ball without him. KJ Stern has had a huge game. And I said earlier about Schuylkill having a split with Blue Mountain and North Schuylkill, and I completely forgot about them playing Marion this week.
Yeah.
So obviously that's not a gimme. So, neither one of these teams could go 4-6 probably make playoffs. So this is a huge.
No way.
This is a playoff atmosphere, playoff game in week 7 already for both of these teams. And at Marion, but Marion coming off a pretty good beating that they took. Schuylkill Haven feeling good about the beating they put on Nativity. So we'll see how they respond. But should be a great game because they're both of them are in can't lose situations.
Yeah, and my point is that Haven, I think they're must-win situations. If Marion loses, they can probably still sneak
Still
in.
get 5 and 5.
Haven has a tough road ahead of them.
Sure.
Still.
Yeah, they do. They do.
They
Haven can't lose
North
this.
Schuylkill. So yeah, they can't. They can't. And two keys for me. Will the big play guys for Haven show up?
Mm-hmm.
Will Casella, Will Fink, Will Lazada, the receiver Webb, I think it's Xavier Webb, I believe his name is. Will they show up? They're on the road. I think they're up in hometown, which is a tough place to play. And can the Marion offense bounce back from last week? Because if Marion's offense doesn't bounce back this week, I feel like that's going to be a real problem for them going forward.
Sure.
Because if they don't get things going this week against Haven, I think they're going to have a tough time getting things going. And things could get real ugly real quick for them if they don't get things turned around this week. Neither team can look ahead. They have to. Those 5 teams tied at 3-3. That's just for us and for the fans and people.
Right.
They got to focus on this week, and I'm sure they are. So either a win here for both these teams put them right on track to where they wanted to be, and it's going to be exciting to see. These are the kind of games you want to be in at this point in the season for both these teams. I'm sure they want to have a little bit more wins than losses right now, but these are the kind of games that you want to be in, and they're exciting to see for us as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you just take a snapshot of this game, and it really is, it really kind of typifies what the AFL has been about. You look at both programs, and Marion with Coach Tukowski and Schuylkill Haven with Coach Farr, and both of them are in the mix consistently, and have been there since the league's inception, and it's a good AFL game. It's just a real good AFL game that has a lot of implications, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It does have much bigger implications than we think for Schuylkill Haven, because it's one that, looking at the games ahead, if they lose this one, it makes it real tough for a team that could certainly win districts to even get in.
Yeah.
As for Marion, they some of those tougher teams that they have behind them already.
Yep.
So they might be able to absorb it a little more. Although a 3 to 4 hole is obviously not where you want to be. After 7 weeks when you're looking to compete for a championship. So it's at Marion. Who you got?
I think the fact that Schuylkill Haven's back's against the wall. They won a division title or the district title last year. They want to go back and defend that district title, and I just think because of the implications, because they know they can't lose the way they've played last couple of weeks, I think Haven's going to go in there and sneak away with the win.
Yeah, I'm opposite of the way I was during the beginning of the season. I saw Marion play, and they looked very impressive, and now I've seen them play, and they just don't look like the same team they did. Just unfortunately think they're just not playing up to their potential right now. So, Haven, I think that win with Nativity, you can't take much away from it. But 67-0 gives you the confidence. Lost a tough one at Jim Thorpe, that they could have very easily won.
Sure.
So I believe Haven's going to take care of business this week as well.
And I'm in the same boat as you guys. I look at the way that Wyatt Clemens and Lee Heighton were Marion down, and I think they're going to get a heavy dose of Fink and Casella this week. And those guys over the last not just this season but over the last few years have had a tendency to do that. Many teams have hung with Haven. You're right there. It's a tie game. You're within a touchdown, and then at the end of the game, you're like, how do we lose by 20?
Sure.
The next thing you know, at the end of the game, Haven breaks a few. It happened in Lansford this year. It happened in a few of their games last year. They're so physical, and those guys are such tough runners that they wear you down. So I agree. I think Haven will head into hometown and take care of business and set themselves up for the last 3 weeks. So that's our game of the week. Before we sign off, we're going to take a little look at the district playoff standings. First thing to do is take a look at single A. So you were talking about the 5 teams at 3-3. So you want to run them down for us?
Yeah, you have Pius at 4-2. You have Tri Valley at 3-3. Monway in third, 3-3. Marion 4th right now, 3-3. Williams Valley 3-3 in the 5th spot, and Schuylkill Haven 3-3 in the 6th spot. You're probably looking at Tri Valley, Williams Valley, one of them getting in, and then you're gonna have the battle between Monterey, Marion, and Schuylkill Haven for that last spot. Maybe the last 2 spots. So you'll have Tri Valley and Williams Valley battling for one spot, and then I think that's called the Tri Valley League up there, correct?
Yes.
If I'm correct.
Yeah.
So it's tough. I mean,
Yeah, 2 of those tops. We got 6 teams vying right now for 4 spots.
exactly.
And it's gonna be most likely one of them.
I would think it would be Marion or Schuylkill Haven would get in over Monterey right now. The way that.
I think Mono might have a tendency to fade a little bit.
Yeah.
So with the injuries, especially Richmond. I mean, that's a huge injury to absorb.
And I don't know what Tri Valley, Williams Valley has left in their schedule. I don't even know if those 2 have played yet or not. To be honest with you, I don't know if they have played or not. But those are 2 tough teams too. Marion got to win over Williams Valley early when they were healthy. It's just gonna be one of those things, and it's this game this week between Marion and Schuylkill Haven sets it up. I think it sets the whole act 7 for the final act of the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Before that all comes alive, so we'll see. It all depends how this game turns out this week.
Moving ahead, we'll take a look at the 2A standings, and sitting there at the top is a matchup that a lot of people are already looking forward to. Hey, we talk about not getting ahead of ourselves, looking towards next week. Let's take a look ahead at the possible AA district title matchup. People are looking forward to seeing that Colonial East AFL matchup.
Yeah, they really are. But obviously you have North Schuylkill and Northwestern at 6-0. They're most likely going to get there. But then you got that group of 4 and 2 teams: Palisades, Tamaqua, Northern Lehigh, Palmerton. Who are all going to be scrambling to get those other spots. And looking at it now, if it ends up this way, a week 1 rematch with North Schuylkill Tamaqua maybe in the first round of playoffs. That obviously Tamaqua's a different team now. That'd be a fun game to see.
Sure.
But we still have 4 weeks left to work it all out. But same thing here: 6 teams competing for 4 spots and another logjam.
You talked about those top 6, and another game looking ahead. Northern Lehigh and Palmerton, end of the season against each other. There's always a chance that it could come down to that game for those teams.
Oh yeah, and those 2 teams kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit last week with
Absolutely.
2 losses. Palmerton got crushed by Southern Lehigh, who looks to be the real deal.
Yeah.
That team's good.
Yeah, and it's not so much the loss, but the way they lost that game.
And Northern Lehigh kind of, I guess you would say, getting upset by Catasauqua. So
yeah, Catasauqua's been playing much better than people anticipated.
But nobody believed.
But
with all they lost, there's no way people thought that they'd be beating these teams that they're beating right now.
Absolutely, but you talked about
so that hurts.
Northern Lehigh had a chance to set themselves up nice going into the last few games. So
and Colonial League's tough. Very tough.
Is. Yeah. All right, so what we're going to do now is take a look at the 3A. We got Becca sitting at top at 6-0, Saucon Valley 5-1. Then we got our first AFL team, Jim Thorpe 6-0, Southern Lehigh 5-1, Lehighton 4-2. East Stroudsburg North, even though they're 2-4 right now, they're actually in 6th place. We talked about how the league hurts the big teams. Blue Mountain is 4-2 in 7th. East Stroudsburg North is 2-4 in 6th. I think that'll take care of itself. But Blue Mountain, as we said, most likely in a situation where they got to win out and possibly hope for some things. But as far as our AFL teams, like Hayton, Jim Thorpe, what are the chances there?
Like I said, it's going to be tough for both, and Blue Mountain. Don't forget Blue Mountain is an AFL team too. And it'll be tough for all of them. Jim Thorpe's going to run that gauntlet in weeks 8, 9, and 10 with North Schuylkill, Blue Mountain, Lehighton, and as you see the way the point system or the power ratings work out, a team 4-2 is behind a team that's 2-4 because of who they play and things like that. So I still, like I said, Jim Thorpe has to obviously finish strong. They have to at least finish 8-2, I think, and I think Lehighton's tough schedule behind them. I think they roll the rest of the way, also get an 8-2. So I think Lehighton definitely gets in. Jim Thorpe, Blue Mountain probably on the bubble right there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think 1 out of 3 is getting in. I only think AFL's going to get 1 team in. I think you're going to have Becca. Obviously, we all can agree they're going to be the number 1 seed.
Sure.
Then you're going to have Saucon Valley. I believe Southern Lehigh and Saucon Valley will be your 2 and your 3.
And I wonder about Saucon. I do. Based on who they have left,
Well,
I do wonder about that one. Who they got?
I can tell you right now.
Tell me right now.
Okay.
They have Wilson, who they'll beat,
Okay.
Bangor, who they'll beat, and Notre Dame and Palisades. So
Okay, well,
they're going to be favored.
question answered. Yeah,
They're going to be favored heavily at 3 out of the 4. Palisades is tough,
Right.
but you know, nobody expected Sauk Valley to be this good.
Right.
They lost. They lost Savant. They're great running back, but they've proved that they've got a defense too, and they can run the ball. So that Palisades game, it will come down to that game, I think, because if Lehighton wins their games and Jim Thorpe wins their games at Blue Mountain, I think they'll pass them just on some of the wins that they'll have over the teams they beat.
Sure.
You know, the teams that they beat will have some wins and they'll get some points that way. Sauk Valley's not getting many points from Wilson, Bangor, and Notre Dame because they don't have many wins. Bangor hasn't won yet. Notre Dame hasn't won. Bangor's 1 win. Notre Dame has no wins, and I don't think Wilson has. Wilson maybe has 1 win.
So yeah, so an 8-2 Saucons sitting at 5-1, and 8-2 Saucons getting it over an 8-2 AFL team.
And
Sure.
Southern Lehigh's got Northwestern this week, which that's going to be a big
Huge
time
game.
Then they have Northern Lehigh.
Huge game.
Yep. Caddy, they should be Caddy, and then Salisbury, who's all 4 of those games. I think Caddy's 3-3. Salisbury's 3-3. Northwestern, that's a big game this week. Southern Lehigh can beat Northwestern this week. They really, they'll solidify themselves as getting in probably if they beat Northwestern this week.
Sure.
So, you know, I think you'll see 1 AFL team get in out of those 3, in my opinion, and then those 2 other Colonial League teams will get in just because of with the wins the Colonial League teams, the wins they have now will be enough to get them in once everything's said and done. So, Jim Thorpe, Lehigh, and Blue Mountain. It's gonna be a fun little ride to watch the last couple weeks.
Yeah, and I think you got a great shot of it coming down to that Jim Thorpe Lehighton game at the end of the year, which would just be nuts. But
Yeah,
you know,
always last year it came down.
Last year,
Yeah,
I
you know,
called that game last year. It
Yeah.
was great. It was a good game,
and
That game's always close.
Yeah.
always.
You know what jumps out at me? These 3 rankings. We just talked about all these different possibilities, and we didn't even mention Allentown Central Catholic,
Yeah,
which is
1 and 5.
1 and 5.
Yeah,
And
I love
you know, obviously, if they would run the table based on the points, they'll get themselves right in the mix, and they can certainly knock someone out.
They get
but,
4. They get 4 wins. They could be up there.
Yeah,
I'm
but,
serious.
you know, hard to believe we're sitting here and not talking about them this year, but you know that's the way the cards fell for them. So AAA is going to be very interesting, and you know hopefully our 3 AFL teams are going to have a say in how things shake out. So that's a wrap for our Week 7 show, guys. Any closing thoughts?
No, I'm good to go. Looking forward to the stretch run. Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Really looking forward to this game tomorrow night. Lehigh and Panther Valley, great cause, the bow tack thing. And that's always a great cause, great family. And also next week, we'll give you a little highlight. We're going to be at the Jim Thorpe American Legion next week. Hopefully, we're there, and there's some big applications on the line. We got Coach Rosenberger from the Olympians coming down. We're going to talk to him. Then we got some fun things planned.
On location next week, love it.
It's gonna be a fun time. So make sure you tune in next week, and that's it, fellas.
And hey, any of you out there have an idea for where I should stop heading up to Minersville, let me know. All right, hey, thanks again for joining us. We'll be back next week. This is Thursday Night Tailgate.